Why did Shakyamuni reject every bodhisattva who offered to protect the Lotus Sutra? You searched this at 2 a.m. because something in you already knows the answer matters. You have been chanting for years or weeks, or you just heard the words Namu-myoho-renge-kyo for the first time and cannot explain why they stayed with you. Either way, you are asking the right question, because the moment Shakyamuni said no to those bodhisattvas, the earth split open. From within the clefts, there arose hundreds of thousands of bodhisattvas with gold-colored bodies who had been waiting beneath this world. Not in a pure land, beneath this one. The world you are living in right now. Bodhisattva Maitreya had attended every assembly for 40 years. He had traveled the 10 directions. He knew every great bodhisattva of every realm. He had never seen these beings in his life. He turned to Shakyamuni and asked, "Who are they? Where do they come from? And who is their teacher?" That question is the entire video. The Yujutsu chapter, chapter 15 of the Lotus Sutra, records both the emergence and the reason for it. Before these bodhisattvas appeared, a large number of bodhisattvas from other worlds had come forward. They pledged to protect and propagate the Lotus Sutra after Shakyamuni's passing. The sutra records their offer. Allow us to protect, read, recite, transcribe, and worship this sutra with diligence in the Saha world. The Buddha turned them down. He said, "Desist, men of devout faith. There is no need for you to protect this sutra." And then the earth opened. Tiantai analyzed why the Buddha refused the offer, and then called forth the bodhisattvas of the earth. The Gosho records his reasoning. The bodhisattvas from other worlds had no deep roots in this Saha world. Even the bodhisattvas of the theoretical teaching, the first 14 chapters of the Lotus Sutra, were not the original disciples of Shakyamuni from the remotest past. The Gosho states this directly. They had not been among his disciples when he first aroused the aspiration for enlightenment in the remote past. The bodhisattvas of the earth had. The Gosho records that only these 4 bodhisattvas had been the disciples of Shakyamuni since the remote past of Gohyaku Jintengo. From the time he first aroused the aspiration for enlightenment, they had never followed any other Buddha, and they had not required the instruction of either the theoretical or essential teachings. This is why the 5 characters of Myoho-renge-kyo were entrusted to them and to no one else. Tiantai says, "These are Shakyamuni's disciples, destined to propagate the law of his enlightenment." Miao Lo adds, "When the sons disseminate the law of the Father, they can save all people." And Dao Xian states, "Because the law was expounded by the original Buddha, it was entrusted to those who were his disciples in that distant time." Among those bodhisattvas of the earth, 4 are named as leaders. The Yujutsu chapter records, "The first is called Jogyo, the second Nuhenjo, the third Jogyo, and the fourth Onryugyo." Jogyo stands first. The name Jogyo means superior practices. Dao Xian writes that the 4 bodhisattvas represent the 4 virtues of the Buddha's life: true self, eternity, purity, and happiness. Jogyo carries the virtue of true self. His role in the Lotus Sutra is precise. The Buddha summoned Jogyo specifically in the presence of Taho Buddha and all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, and entrusted to him the 5 characters of Myoho-renge-kyo. Not a commentary on it, not a derivative teaching, the 5 characters themselves, the heart of the Jogyo chapter. The Gosho states that the entrusting of these 5 characters to Bodhisattva Jogyo represents the ultimate purpose for which Shakyamuni appeared in the world. And then Jogyo made a vow. He and the other bodhisattvas of the earth received the mystic law and made a solemn oath to Shakyamuni Buddha, Taho Buddha, and all the other Buddhas. Their task was specific: propagate Namu-myoho-renge-kyo among the people of the Saha world in the first 500 years of the latter day of the law. During an age when all other medicines had lost their power to cure the illness of suffering. During an age when the people would look upon this bodhisattva as an enemy. The Gosho describes what that propagation would look like. He would be treated like Bodhisattva Fukyo in past times, cursed, hated, attacked. The sutra states he would face exile and execution, and yet the vow held. This is the character of Jogyo, the one who takes on the most difficult propagation in the most hostile age, carrying the most essential teaching. For 2,000 years, covering the former and middle days of the law, these bodhisattvas did not appear. Other great bodhisattvas worked in the world. Tian-te spread the theoretical teaching. The Gosho explains why Jogyo and the others stayed beneath the earth. The time was not yet right. The people were not ready for the essential teaching. Spreading it before the latter day would have caused slander, which would have destroyed the good fortune accumulated through centuries of practice. The bodhisattvas of the earth waited for Mappo. Nichiren Daishonin was exiled twice. His disciples were imprisoned and killed. He faced execution at Tatsunokuchi. He was sent to the island of Sado in the bitterest winter conditions, isolated from his community, with no certainty he would survive. In a letter written on the 11th day of the 2nd month in the 9th year of Bune, 1272, while in exile on Sado, Nichiren Daishonin wrote, "The Lotus Sutra says that Bodhisattva Jogyo should now appear to propagate this teaching in the latter day of the law. But has this actually happened? Whether or not Bodhisattva Jogyo has already appeared in this world, Nichiren has at least made a start in propagating this teaching. That is a careful statement. He holds the question open. He does not declare himself flatly. But read what surrounds that statement in the Gosho. In other letters he writes, the text of the sutra clearly states that at this time, Bodhisattva Jogyo will make his advent and bestow the 5 characters of Namu-myoho-renge-kyo upon all the people of Japan. It also makes clear that he will face exile and execution. I, Nichiren, am like the emissary of Bodhisattva Jogyo, because I am spreading this doctrine." And then, immediately after, in the statement, this person will practice among the people. To whom do you think this person refers? I believe that it must indicate the person who is the reincarnation of Bodhisattva Jogyo. And in another passage, I have propagated the 5 characters of the Daimoku, which were entrusted to Bodhisattva Jogyo when the 2 Buddhas were seated together within the treasure tower. Does this not indicate that I am an envoy of Bodhisattva Jogyo? And most directly, Nichiren's endeavors to have all the Japanese embrace the Lotus Sutra are the work of Bodhisattva Jogyo. Why did he phrase it in these ways rather than simply declaring, "I am Bodhisattva Jogyo"? This is worth thinking about carefully. In the Gosho, Nichiren Daishonin consistently grounds his identity claims in function and in correspondence with the sutra's own words. He points to the exile, the execution attempts, the propagation of the specific 5 characters, the timing of the latter day. He says, "Look at what the sutra predicted. Look at what is happening. Let the sutra speak." This is not evasion, it is doctrinal precision. The sutra itself predicts the practitioner who propagates Namu-myoho-renge-kyo in the first 500 years will face these persecutions. Nichiren Daishonin experienced every one of them. The correspondence between the sutra's description and his life is exact. He draws the line from the sutra to his own body and says, "This is what that prophecy looks like in flesh." Here is where this teaching stops being historical and becomes immediate. The Gosho states, "If you are of the same mind as Nichiren, you must be a bodhisattva of the earth. And since you are a bodhisattva of the earth, there is not the slightest doubt that you have been a disciple of the Buddha from the remotest past." The Yujutsu chapter states, "I have taught these people since the remotest past." The Gosho continues, "There should be no discrimination among those who propagate the 5 characters of Myoho-renge-kyo in the latter day of the law, be they men or women. Were they not bodhisattvas of the earth, they could not chant the Daimoku." Read that again. Were they not bodhisattvas of the earth, they could not chant the Daimoku. This is not encouragement language. This is a doctrinal statement about the nature of practice in Mappo. If you are chanting Namu-myoho-renge-kyo and spreading it among others, the Gosho says that is the activity of a bodhisattva of the earth. Nichiren Daishonin then connects this directly to the emergence seen in chapter 15. Only I, Nichiren, at first chanted Namu-myoho-renge-kyo, but then 2, 3, and 100 followers, chanting and teaching others. Doesn't this signify emerging from the earth? The bodhisattvas of the earth emerged at the right time. They were beneath the earth for 2,000 years, waiting for the moment when the medicine was needed. The Gosho describes that moment. Now, in the beginning of the latter day of the law, at this very time, the bodhisattvas of the earth appear in the world to give the medicine of Namu-myoho-renge-kyo to the ignorant people of the latter day. You are practicing in that time. That age is not closed. The 10,000 years of the latter day are the time of this law. What Nichiren Daishonin did was make the vow of Bodhisattva Jogyo visible. He accepted the exile, the sword, the isolation. He kept propagating. He did not stop because the conditions were hostile. The sutra had already told him the conditions would be hostile, and he took that prediction as confirmation that he was in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. That is the standard this teaching sets. Each voice of Namu-myoho-renge-kyo chanted today carries the weight of that vow. The cause planted now, in this moment, in this age, is the cause that corresponds to the mission of the bodhisattvas of the earth. Original cause and original effect are not separated by time. They exist together in the act of chanting. Nichiren Daishonin wrote on the 21st day of the 7th month in the 2nd year of Kenji, 1276. If Bodhisattva Jogyo appears in the latter day of the law, so must Bodhisattva Anryugyo. The 4 leaders appear together. The community of practitioners who chant and teach is part of that emergence. Plant the cause now. The earth is open. The next question is the one Nichiren Daishonin spent his entire life answering. He did not just identify himself as Jogyo. He made specific predictions about what this age would look like, what forces would oppose the law, and what the practitioner who holds this teaching should expect. That video releases tomorrow. It is called the Jogyo Prophecy, what Nichiren said would happen in our time. Watch it. The teaching continues. Namu-myoho-renge-kyo.